Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Cook with Ron. Today, we're going to be doing a seasoning video. Now, in my prior seasoning video, I was working on my Blackstone 22-inch griddle. I have since upgraded to a 36-inch, and the reason being, my family keeps growing. Now we're expecting our fourth child, and I felt like it was time to go with a bigger griddle. Now, the 22-inch, I've done plenty of videos on that. It's great. I've done a lot of good meals on it. It was awesome piece of cooking equipment, and I loved it. And there's even videos where I show you how I make 9 burgers at one time. So it's been really good for us. But I just felt like it was time to upgrade. The 22-inch is gonna find a home. My younger brother is interested in taking it, so we're gonna kind of recycle it in that sense. And but in any case, this one is the Blackstone Culinary series. I got it from Lowe's. Actually, I got it like a year ago, and it's been sitting in my garage. Just never had a chance to put it together and season it and whatnot. So finally got around to doing that, and we're gonna go through the process right now. Very similar to what I did before, but maybe a little different. But let's see how it goes. All right, so if you're familiar with my videos, I like to get everything ready beforehand. So you're gonna need a little bit of soapy water. This is probably like 2 drops of dish soap and some water in there, so it's not much soap at all. It's probably the only rare time you'll ever use soap on the top of your griddle top. So it's like a one-time thing, and that's it. Once the seasoning takes effect, that'll be the end of soapy water. Then we have regular water, just to kind of wipe off whatever soap residue is left over, right? Now, of course, a little bag to throw our trash. I like to use, I shouldn't say I like to use, but I've done a little bit of research, and a lot of people are saying, oh, you could use any oil. Some people are saying use the Blackstone seasoning, and some people say the safest bet is canola. I had some coconut oil that was laying around, and I was going to use that, but then I read about some people saying, oh, don't use coconut oil because of blah blah blah. And some people are saying use animal fat like lard and stuff, but then they're saying, oh, don't use animal fat because it breaks down or something, and it flakes and this and that. But it seems like to me the overall consensus is either you can use the Blackstone seasoning, the special seasoning stuff that they have, which has some conditions and stuff, or if you want to go a cheaper route like I'm doing, just go with regular canola oil. So I'm going the cheaper route this time, but I mean, if you want to be the best way possible, you could use the Blackstone seasoning. But I feel like the consensus thinks that canola is the best way to go if you don't want to go the Blackstone route. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and start the process. Okay, so we're going to start first with the soapy water, just to clear off whatever residue from the factory. I use Bounty paper towel. Just use a high quality paper towel that doesn't tear apart when you start using, putting in water and soapy water. You don't want all that lint getting all over the place. And Bounty kind of works good for me, so let's go ahead with that. So really easy. Just give it a little wipe down. Again, you could barely see any of the soap even. It's such a little bit. It's almost just like insurance. Any little grease or residue or whatever from the factory, you're kind of just getting rid of it just so it doesn't get into your food. You see there's a little bit of stuff there, so it's a little dirty, but very easy. If you want to go over it a couple of times, that's fine. I did give it a quick wipe down before also, so this is kind of like extra credit. But just to give you guys the idea of what I do. Cut the edges too a little bit. And that's it. Okay, now we're going to take our regular water. I've done a couple of times with the soapy water. Now I'm going to do the regular water. And just kind of give it just a quick wipe down again, just to remove any of that residual soap that may have been left over. Very easy. I mean, it was such a little bit of soap anyway. I'm going to do this about maybe, I don't know, I'll change the paper towel maybe, 2, maybe 3 times, just to remove any of that soap. That's 1. I'll do that 2 more times, and then we'll start the seasoning process. Okay, so I already screwed up. As you see with the paper towel, I kind of, I guess on the 3rd try, I started going a little bit too much, and the paper towel started showing some lint. Lint started breaking. So even with the Bounty, it's still good quality paper towel. It still had some lint. So you got to also be careful with how hard you press and whatever. So I'm going to take a sponge and kind of remove that lint. You see all that lint going that way? just kind of remove it so that we have a nice, clean griddle top, so I don't have to worry about lint and whatnot getting in the food. So I'm gonna do this a couple times. Use obviously a new clean sponge that hasn't had soap or anything in it yet. So try to just, if you screw up like I did, you can just fix it on the spot with a sponge, just so that you don't have little pieces of lint lifting up your seasoning, and eventually it's gonna flake it off. So I'm gonna do that a couple more times to make it really nice and clean, and then we'll start the seasoning process. Okay, so lesson learned. You know, that was kind of a pain in the neck getting all that lint off. I wish I hadn't gone so crazy that first couple times when I was wiping it down with the water, but you know, you learn as you go sometimes, right? So just keep in mind, you know, when you guys are wiping it down with a paper towel, don't go too crazy. Keep the wipes to a minimum. Keep changing the paper towel if you want to do multiple swipes, so the integrity of the paper towel doesn't break down, and then all of a sudden you get lint everywhere. So now I got most of the lint off, probably 99% of it. Now I'm going to start the process of seasoning. First thing you're going to do is you're going to put the burners on high. I'm going to turn each burner on and put it on a high. Let's turn this guy on. That's 3 and 4. Okay, so all 4 burners are on. I'm setting them on high. I'm going to let this go for a solid 15 minutes. You're going to start seeing the top of the cooktop change color a little bit. That's fine. That's normal. Once that happens, we're going to start throwing our oil on, thin coats, and seasoning the griddle. I'll be back in 15. One thing I wanted to mention real quick is whenever you get a Blackstone, I think this is probably true for all of them, you're going to have hot spots and cold spots, and generally the hot spots are probably like, I would say 4 or 5 inches in from the center from every direction. Not so much the rear, but definitely in the front section here, I would say. This side, this little strip here is a colder spot, and then back, you know, on this side is a cooler spot. Back here is also kind of cool, less so than these sides, but you know, the center, 4 inches in from either side, the center is always the hottest. So, you know, as you cook, you'll get that experience. But I just wanted to point this out because with the 36-inch, you have a much bigger center real estate piece versus the 22-inch, because when you start taking into account the cold spots, you kind of lose a lot of that real estate. So you're kind of limited on your searing if you want to get like a good crust on a burger or on a steak. Just keep that in mind. As you get experience using the griddle, you'll know where your hot spots and cold spots are. Generally, they're on the edges, but you know, every griddle is a little different. So just get a feel for it. I can see this side here now is starting to change color a little bit, so I could tell that the back side gets hotter faster than I guess the front. So as you see the seasoning process, you could also get an idea of where your hot and cold spots are, but more so when you start actually cooking on it. But you just get a general sense of where it is now. Just wanted to point that out. Okay, we're about 7 minutes in. You can start seeing a little bit of color change on the back side of the grill. It's hard to see with the glare, but if you could catch that, you can start seeing like a little bit of a change. See also some smoke coming off of it. But I'm gonna give another maybe 8 more minutes, and then we'll start putting the oil on. All right, so it's been another about 3 or 4 minutes. I haven't even started putting the seasoning in yet, and you can see that backside kind of getting darker. Trying to get into focus. I don't know if you guys could see that, but I'm gonna give another 3-4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and we'll start seasoning. But you can kind of see it already starting to change color. That's not actually the seasoning, but the metal itself is getting darker. But once I put the oil in, it'll get even darker than this. Another thing I noticed is kind of weird. Seems like this backside is getting hotter much faster than this front side. It feels like it's been a while now since the backside has been changing color, but I don't see much of a difference in the front yet. So I'm not sure why that is, but I guess we'll have to find out and see. Hopefully this thing seasons properly, and I don't have one of those laser temperature thingies to check the front of the griddle right now, but I'm curious to see if this side is a lot cooler than the back side. If I even put my hand over, I could just feel it's a lot. Actually, nah, it's still hot. Both sides are hot, but I don't know why that backside just seems to me a lot more than the front. But I guess we'll find out soon enough. All right, so it's been a full 15 minutes now, and for some reason this backside here, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but this I'll say about almost 2/3 from the back is kind of getting black, whereas this front section here is not. So I'm not quite sure why that is. I'm just gonna go ahead and start the oiling process now, the seasoning process. 2 or 3 tablespoons of oil. Give it a quick wipe down with the paper towel, and just let it burn off. And that should be it for the first step. I'll probably do that step. I want to say, just give it a wipe it up. Now you could use your hands, but you could also, and in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my spatula and just kind of move it around, let it coat the entire front. And that burning off that you see now, that's supposed to happen. The griddle is super hot. And like I said, I'm gonna flip this over, and I'm not gonna use the same side too much, because you saw with the whole lint stuff that was happening before. Well, it wasn't on camera, but off camera, the paper towel started to break down a little bit. And I don't want to use the same side a little too much as I'm going through this seasoning. Otherwise, then I'm gonna have the same issue. I know the oil kind of acts as a lubricant also, so the paper towel won't be, breaking down as quickly. But I do want to limit my passes with each side. So once I think I'm going too much with that one paper, I'm gonna take this off and I'm gonna replace the paper towel with something else. Okay, remember I'm still on the first seasoning. I haven't done that first coat quite yet, so this is a new paper towel. Kind of just getting it on there. Again, a thin coat, just to kind of get it on there with a minimal lint. Actually, that came on a little easier. It feels like more surface area. You cover more. Get a thinner coat, and you don't have to worry too much about lint. Let me know in the comments if you guys use paper towel or something else to season these things. I'm curious to know what you guys do. So anyway, that's the first shot. Let that burn off. You see that front section here? It kind of like, I feel like it's seasoning a lot better than this. I'm sorry, the back section is seasoning a lot better than the front. So you can you see my individual swipes of paper towel here. Once I put more and more layers on, that'll kind of disappear. But it's just weird. I thought these things would be more cooler on the edges versus the whole front section. But let's see how it goes. Just to give you guys a visual of what I'm talking about. Sometimes that glare gets in the way. But you can see that. You see the back side. It's darkening much nicer than the front. And you could kind of tell even where my swipes were with the paper towel right there. Those are actually thicker spots of oil too, but it's just polymerizing a lot nicer back there than in the front. You see the front is kind of like, it's not quite there yet. But as you guys cook on these things over the months and months, and 10, 20 cooks, these things will darken up. But I'm trying to get it as much blackened as possible during the initial seasoning as I can, so that way I have a good solid base to work with. But if you can't get it quite there the whole way through, then that's fine too. Anyway, I'm gonna let this thing burn off. You can see that smoke coming out really nice right now. So let that burn off about 15 minutes, and we'll be back to do a second coat. Okay, so that first layer pretty much burned off. The smoke has minimized now, but I'm actually pretty impressed with just one coat. I would say 2/3 of that Blackstone top is pretty much black. Looks really good. Actually, this is a lot faster than the 22-inch that I had, so I have high hopes. But the weird thing is still that front side here. It's not quite black. It's kind of on the brownish side, so that's going to take a little bit more. And I'm a little bit inconsistent with my spread over here. You can kind of see some streaks, but I'm hoping like as I put more coatings on, that'll go away. So let's do our second coat, and we'll be back in 15-20 minutes. That first one was about, I would say, almost 20 minutes. All right, second coat coming up. Okay, now we're going to give it a spread. And I missed this on the first time, but I'm gonna do the edges a little bit so that way they kind of darken up a little bit too. It's a little bit tougher to do, but it's not required actually. You're not cooking on the edges, but just for consistency's sake, try to get a little bit of oil on those edges so it just looks nice. Yeah, that's hot. I feel like this grill gets hotter than my 22-inch. For some reason, it's just like it's blazing. That back edge there, nice and coated, and that should be good. All right, so we're gonna let this go again for, I want to say 15 minutes, maybe 20, basically until it stops smoking, and we'll see how it looks after that. It already starts looking better actually. Okay, this is about 5 minutes into the second coat, and it looks really good. It's starting to even out a little bit. You see less of that streaking. I mean, it's still there, but you know, it'll go away eventually. But after 2 coats, it looks really good. I could probably stop here, but I'm gonna keep going with at least 1 more coat, maybe 2. I don't have much gas left in these tanks. I'm kind of. I know I was running low on fuel, so I kind of said, okay, it'll be a good time to season, just use up whatever fuel's left in these tanks and get it done. So I'm gonna see how many coats I can get through with whatever propane I have left. But so far, it looks pretty good. This is 5 minutes into the second coat. Okay, 15 minutes in of the second coat. Looks pretty good. This front over here is starting to darken a little bit. It's kind of like went from gray to like a brownish color. But it is filling in, slowly but surely. The backside, solid. So I'm gonna put the third coat on now and see how it looks. Okay, just apply the third coat. More or less the same process, so I didn't videotape it. But gonna let that burn off again, 15, max 20 minutes, and come back and see how it looks. Even after that third coat, you could probably get away with this. This is pretty good. I would say this is pretty much ready to start cooking on once this coat burns off, but I will give it a 4th coat just to be, you know, I don't know. I just want to do a 4th coat just to get it even blacker. I still have some more fuel left in these tanks, so might as well. I'm gonna go change them out later today anyway, so I might as well use all the fuel that's left over, and a little bit of extra oil doesn't hurt anything. So, all right, I'll be back after this burns off, and I'll start the 4th coat. Okay, so we're about 7 minutes in on that third coat, and you can see it's almost there. Maybe another 5-6 minutes and it should be burned off, but looking pretty good. This front here, obviously now I know that this front section doesn't get as hot as this back section here. And actually, what I said before with the sides, this side section is pretty much darkening at the same rate as this center back section. So this area, I would say, is still good for searing. This side also good for searing. That 4-inch strip I was talking about before, it was true for my 22-inch griddle, but not so much for this one. So now, if I'm gonna be searing, I'm gonna basically use the first 2/3 from this point back. That 2/3 of the griddle surface area is good for searing if you need a super high temperature. And then just to keep things warm, or if you don't need it super hot, you could use this front to kind of maybe keep some veggies that you kind of got sauteed or whatever. Just keep them over here in the meanwhile until your burgers or whatever, or steaks, whatever you're cooking, fajitas, whatever you're doing, kind of cook through more. So you know, when you're seasoning your griddle, it's also a learning process. You're going to learn where's your hot spots and cold spots on the grill. And not every grill is the same. Obviously, you may have a different scenario than I did. But now that I know, this front section doesn't get quite as hot. So just keep that in mind when you're cooking. I'm going to go ahead and put one more coat on, and I'll show you guys the final product. I probably won't videotape because it's just more or less of the same stuff. And we'll see how it looks at the end. Okay, fourth coat just applied now. Letting it burn off. It's looking really nice. Trying to give you all angles of it. Looks pretty good. So I may even go for a fifth coat just because I'm OCD like that. So we'll be back in a little bit. Okay, the fourth coat completed and burned off. Looks pretty good. This is pretty much ready to go. I'm gonna put a fifth coat on just for the heck of it, but this is pretty good. The burners are still on full blast, as you can see of the flames. I don't know if you can see back there, but they are on. So I don't run out of gas yet. I'm running low, I could tell, because it's really down there. But yeah, not bad. Overall, I'd say it was a success. 4 coats did the trick. I'm gonna go for 5 just for the heck of it, like I said, and it'll be ready to start cooking on. So very simple process, guys. I can't wait to cook on this thing and make more videos for you guys. Today I'm gonna be doing some what is it called, smash burger tacos. I saw a cool recipe on Facebook the other day, so I'm gonna give it a try and see how it comes out. I'll post a video on that shortly. Please, if you like this video, if it was helpful in any way, like and subscribe to my channel. I'm gonna be pushing out more content, especially with this new grill, and hope to see you again soon. Anything I did wrong, any criticisms or compliments, whatever, I'm welcome to it all. I try to respond to as many comments as possible. I'm very busy, obviously, but you know, I try to get to everything as quickly as I can. So keep them coming. I appreciate the feedback, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks. Bye. Sorry, before I go, I just wanted to show you the final product. This is how it looks after 5 coats now. It's still burning off a little bit, but you get the general idea. I'm happy with this, and we're going to go ahead and start cooking on this. So again, if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. I would appreciate a like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Thanks. Okay, just wanted to give you guys a quick look at the final product. This is now after the 5th coat. Most of it's burned off. I'm still going to let it go for another 5 or 10 minutes or so, but that's basically it. The glare kind of gets in the way, but you get an idea of just how black and how consistent it looks now. The front is still quite, you know, brown instead of black, but overall I'm very happy with the way it came out. Again, if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, give me a like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.